I truly believe every single woman wants to feel significant, and I know that every single woman wants to feel like she's the only woman in the room. That to me is, I believe that is an important part of, especially if you're in a monogamous heterosexual relationship. We've got to make sure that I put it in the frame. But I truly believe that everyone wants to feel that. Like I agree. I totally believe that, and I think we do a disservice to relationships to try and play that part of a woman down, or we try to say that that's not as important.
The joy, the awe, the excitement, it melts a woman.
Yep.
It cracks a woman the fuck open when she feels significant. Mm-hmm. And that was just like the most beautiful moment.
Hey lovers, welcome to Sex, Love and Everything in Between the podcast. We are the O'Neills. I'm Meg and I'm here with my husband Jacob.
And the conversations we have here are real, raw and very uncensored. They will change the way that you experience sex, intimacy and relationships forever.
We are stoked you're here. Enjoy this episode.
Hey lovers.
Welcome back everyone.
Season 2 is here.
And you are potentially watching us this season.
You could be seeing us on video right now.
On Spotify and I think YouTube.
Spotify and YouTube, baby.
So if you're only listening and you want to watch, what the fuck are you doing?
I feel a little exposed, to be honest.
I know, yeah.
I'm worried I'm going to pick my nose or scratch myself or do something inappropriate.
And we have to look extra engaged now when we're talking to each other.
And I don't want to be shamed in the comments for doing something awkward or gross. So
I don't think I've ever seen you pick your nose ever in our 10 years together.
I'm a serial nose picker.
Really?
Yeah.
Why have I never I think you've probably seen me pick my nose.
I see you do a lot of things.
I'm a feral.
I would call you a bit of a grub would be it.
I would say that's a beautiful description of me.
A little grubby.
Grub.
Yeah.
You used to call me Slug. I liked that nickname.
You do.
I don't know why you called me that, but I liked it.
It was because you were really slow and you left a trail of slime wherever you went.
Well, we're stoked to be back, everyone. We missed you for an entire week.
That threw me off, to be honest, having a week off.
Really?
Yeah, this has been probably the only thing I've done consistently in the last year, I would say. Everything else has been up and down, but the podcast has been my one thing that I've done every week.
So we're back into some discipline.
Some discipline. My life can return to order now.
I'm so excited about season 2.
Yeah, season 2 feels like fresh energy. We're going to do we've got a lot of guests lined up.
We've got such killer guests lined up. Mm-hmm. You did some epic podcast interviews this week.
Yeah.
We're doing some great ones in the next month
or so.
Amazing men.
Yeah, we've got all the men lined up. Mm-hmm.
And some amazing women, but there's an incredible amount of men that we're interviewing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I've had some great conversations with some bros. Did 2 podcasts this week, banked them, and then we've got a whole heap that we're going on a bit of a trip up to the sunny coast to connecting with some other people, and it feels exciting that we get to bring in fresh energy. Because we've really spoken so much about ourselves and our experiences, and now it's like expanding those conversations out to hearing other people's stories as well.
Are we running out of shit to say to each other?
I don't want to say that I'm getting bored in this relationship, but
well, that's a great segue into today's.
I don't want to say
topic.
that we're getting a bit stagnant and we're just going through the motions. Segue.
So today
we felt a little more like housemates than lovers. Segue. I actually quite like being filmed, to be honest.
Yeah, you look directly at the camera. You look directly at the camera. Mm-hmm. I'm just making full eye contact with you. Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's move into that segue.
Let's do the segue.
So it is Valentine's Day very fucking soon. By the time this episode comes out, Valentine's Day is probably like 5 days away. Mm-hmm. But this is for Valentine's Day, but also this isn't just exclusively for this one day of the year. What we're going to talk about is really applicable to entire relationships, especially long-term relationships. And we're really talking about how to ignite romance in your relationship. Yes. We specifically got a question from a woman asking, I want more romance. How do I invite my partner to be more romantic? So we're going to be diving into that, but we also just wanted to have a deeper conversation around romance, acts of significance, really making your partner feel special and why that's fucking important, again, especially in a long-term relationship.
And I think it's great to see it from both points of view as well. Like what's the actual, for sometimes, like for me as a man, it's like, well, what's the point? I'm doing all the other things. So why do I need to do this? What am I actually doing this for? And it actually has a really important place in regards to like passion and aliveness and the feeling of like, I would say like fierce, wild love. It's what keeps the fire burning. For me anyway, that's what I've noticed. It keeps the newness and the sense of adventure and spontaneity. And that is like such an important thing, especially the longer that you relate with someone, it can become really easy to fall into the status quo, fall into just a rhythm of just doing the bare minimum.
Completely. I was having a conversation with a beautiful client of mine this week, actually, and we were talking about, you are a man that is an acts of service man, and her partner is as well. And we were talking about how grateful we are for being with men like that, being with men that, cook us food and make our lives easier every day and make sure we have, things in order and support, buy the groceries and just like support us in so many things like in our waking life.
I'm not just that little house husband that sits in the kitchen. I don't want to be. I'm a fucking man. I'm a man, all right. I'm not.
But you're like phenomenal, and you're not. And it's not as if I do nothing. I think sometimes we like play that up here on the podcast that I'm just sitting around being like I was going to say passenger princess. Our friend sent me. Did you see that reel going around recently? I think you actually sent me it too, and I got sent it by multiple other people. And it was like a man opening the passenger door and putting down a blanket and roses and chocolates and all these different things, and it was like preparing the seat for my passenger princess. And I had multiple people go, this is you, this is Jacob doing this for you on a road trip.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
a road trip sometimes which is 30 minutes to the beach in the morning.
Yes, I think acts of service is how I earned love as a child as well. Yeah. So I don't want to go down. We're not processing on this podcast, are we? I'm not allowed to have a process. I've been told that we're adding tips and tricks.
I did not say that. No,
I'm not allowed to talk about myself. I am not going to talk about myself today. I promise I will not say anything about me. It's not about me today.
Stop looking directly into the
It's
camera.
not about me, guys. It's about her and what she wants. No, but I think acts of service is something that I like. It's a part of my identity, so I think that's why it can feel really triggering for men, especially if you do a lot of things that support your partner, and then there's this like, well, what about the romance? What about the moment? Like, what about these significant things that you can do throughout the year? It's like, well, aren't I doing enough already? And it's like, no, what you're doing is amazing, and this is actually going to influence the relationship for both of us. Like channeling energy and resource into this in a healthy way, and knowing that it's not every single day you have to do this. This isn't the new minimum standard. You don't need to be like writing love songs and poetry and bouquets of flowers every single day. It's about creating these times throughout the year where you do something significant that is really steeped in intention and you preparing something that really is a grand gesture.
Yeah. And I want to circle back to the event you went to years ago where that guy spoke about acts of significance. But I want to just take it back to what I was talking about before when my client and I this week were talking about I'm getting real distracted by you looking directly into the camera.
Yeah, I'm talking to the guys.
Hi, everyone. My client and I talking about our part, like you and her partner being these men that are so incredible at acts of service. And there's a part of us that is so filled by that and fed by that, but there's almost a separate part of us that desires something different. And so we were talking about how to bring that desire for more romance, how to bring that desire to want to receive these like moments that sweep us off our feet without making a man feel like what he's doing every day isn't good enough. And we're really talking about how to communicate this in a way of like, it's almost like feeding different parts of us as a woman. Like there's the part of us that you make feel so, like for me personally, you make me feel so safe to relax into my life every single day. But then when you spontaneously buy me flowers, or when you take me on a date, or you say, I'm taking you away this weekend, or we're doing something on Friday and I'm not going to tell you anything, like that makes me motherfucking giddy. It's like the teenage girl within me is just like so giddy and so excited. And this part of me that, this like wants to be swept off her feet. And I just think that's really important to speak into, because if we do as a woman have a desire for more romance and we want to communicate that, it's really important that we communicate it in a way where we're really acknowledging and respecting all the value that our man is currently bringing us. I think that's really important. Because that is one of a man's deepest wounds in relationship, right? This comes up for you a lot. It's like a woman's greatest wound is often I'm too much.
Yep.
And a man's greatest wound in relationship is often I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to bring that awareness in, because I think it's important that, yes, it's so beautiful as a woman to desire more romance and desire to be swept off our feet, and to really own that as a woman. I think for probably a really big chunk of my 20s, or a big chunk of our relationship, I pretended I didn't want that. I thought that would be seen as like high maintenance. And now I love that. I love asking for that. I love receiving that. I love being a woman that knows that is a really incredible sensation and experience to have.
Definitely. My great aunt, Auntie Joan, once said that every woman wants her big day. Every woman wants to, and I said, no, I promise you, Auntie Joan, Meg's different. And I had to eat my words. And I remember after our wedding, after we did the numbers and we worked out how much we spent and how big, it was a 3-day event.
3-day festival.
I was like,
I didn't just want my big day. I wanted my big weekend.
You want a big, long weekend. And then I was like, that makes sense. Like women want to be celebrated. Women want to have like their beauty and what we love about them reflected back in these grand gestures. And I think there's been such a stigma around like the hopeless romantic, and it seems it's seen as like old school gender roles. A man being chivalrous and doing these things is like, oh no, we're all equal now. We're all, we're 50-50. I no longer have to do those things for you because we're equal. And there's been a bit of a, I would say like kind of a neutralization of the grand gestures. Number one, because men, they don't want to make it seem as though women are less than, or that women, I don't want to open a door for you because you're a woman, you're empowered now, you're sovereign, you're independent. It's like, I don't want to buy you flowers. I don't want to do any of these things that make you think that I'm putting you below me, or me being the hero of the story. But the actual fact is that when you choose to actually embrace it, it brings passion alive. It brings a sense of like you said, like giddiness. It brings the love online.
Can you speak about that event you went to where the man spoke about acts of significance? Because I remember you coming home, and this was probably a real important point in time of our relationship, because it was just before I really came into my sexual awakening and probably came into the part of me that was like, oh, I want that. Like I'm no longer going to, pretend I don't have desires, or I'm not going to dilute myself or try not to be high maintenance. So I think this was a really important thing that you brought from this event too.
Yeah, it was talking about how we can be men of service, where we show up every day and serve. We do the things that just need to be done because we're men and we have a duty to our family, our woman, our life, and we do that. And that's called showing up and serving. So service is one thing, but significance is another thing. And significance is something that is not expected of you. It's not a baseline expectation. And this is the tricky bit, because it's not a baseline expectation, but it is a deep yearning. It's a deep ache. It's a deep desire of every woman to be swept off her feet, to be told, yes, we're going to do the thing. We're not just going to talk about it today. Hey, we're going. Hey, hop in the car. We're going to where, we're going to that place that we've been talking about going to, or that, you've been hinting that you want to go here. Well, guess what? We're going. And the thing that I want to say about significance is that it has to be an investment of your time, energy, and resource. It's got to cost you like something that means something to you. That's the piece that makes it significant. It's not about it being like it has to be above $1,000, longer than 2 days, and you have to be off your phone and fully present with her and have everything organized for those 2 days. It's about what is an investment of your time, your energy, and your resources that will have her feeling, or will have you feeling like this is grand, and have her feeling like, oh my God, I can't believe he's done this.
Yeah.
That's what will create a significant experience. Oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. Oh my God, I can't believe he did this. So this might be, if you're not a writer, this might be just literally writing a card. And instead of just writing happy birthday or happy anniversary, you write down all of the things that you love about your partner and all the things that she did this year that you're really grateful for.
I love that you've brought that up, because it's not necessarily, okay, you need to take 3 days off work and spend X amount of dollars, like you said. It's really, we want to feel, that you sacrifice something.
Yeah, you want to feel like it.
Whether it's your vulnerability and discomfort, or whether it's money, whether it's time, but you and I love the definition of sacrifice being to make sacred.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you sacrifice something to make us sacred, to make the relationship sacred.
Totally. And like for some men, it might be the $5,000 weekend away. That might be their sacrifice. For another one, it might just be going out to a nice restaurant and spending $150. For other people, it might be buying that dress that she wanted for, or that top that she wanted for $50. It's like, it's not about the amount of money. It's about what it means for you to sacrifice that amount of money or energy or time. So that's the piece there, and it has to be significant. The way that makes it significant is that there is a sacrifice made from you on the behalf of the thing that you're offering.
Yes. Even an example of like time could be if you play, golf every Saturday, and you say to your woman, and she just knows you play golf every single Saturday, and you say to your woman, this Saturday, I've canceled golf. I'm taking you somewhere special. Right? And she knows how much you motherfucking love golf.
Yes.
So you've had to sacrifice, something you love. You've had to sacrifice, what you usually do on that Saturday morning. And that feels to make her sacred, to give her that feeling of significance.
It's an amplified feeling of you prioritizing her. It's like, holy fuck,
Amen.
I am the priority for this like this day, this weekend, wow, he prioritized me. He chose to do this. And that story that his name's Joe Parnay. He's a life coach from down in Melbourne. Such a cool guy. I just did not expect to be as inspired. I remember looking at him like, dude, I don't get you. I'm like, you're a bit weird looking. You wear a vest. You're wearing joggers and like a suit. I'm like, dude, like but he knew his shit. And I remember hearing him speak that story, and I was like, yeah, he did the whole thing. He booked a beautiful hotel in the middle of Melbourne, and he lives just outside of Melbourne, but he did this and invited his wife in after work, and they could see the Louis Vuitton store from where they were staying, and he walked her in there, and he's like, and he said, we're not just here to try today, my love, we're here to buy. And he'd already been in the day before and organised with the salesperson in there. So he went in and met, let's just call him James for like, I can't remember what he's like. He went and saw James, and he said, when I come in with my wife, I'm just going to call her Danielle. I want you to come out and just completely and utterly just adorn her in your attention, because I want to buy her something. I want to make sure that she gets the best experience ever. Oh. So as they walked into the store, and he said, hey, we're not here to just try, we're here to buy. As he said that, James came up and he went, Joe, is this the woman you could not stop talking about yesterday? Is this her? She's more beautiful than you described. And he just like came in and just like completely like every single, and this is the thing, it's not, he curated, and this is it, he curated an experience that had her feeling like she was the only woman in the world. And that's what you do. Like when you create a significant experience, you create, you don't just create a one thing, you create a whole moving, shifting, complex, and that's what makes it vulnerable. It's like, fuck, am I going to pull this off? You know, I've done that so many times where I've been so fucking nervous because I'm like, I really hope this works. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
I want to jump in because I've just remembered this, that when you went to that event and heard that story and learned about acts of significance, we were living with my parents.
Yes.
Do you remember my mum's birthday and the ring my dad wore?
Yeah.
So we were talking about that acts of significance, and it was my mum's birthday coming up.
Yes.
And I don't know how, but maybe my dad came to me and was like, what should I get your mum? And because you and I had been talking about acts of significance, I was saying to him, go big.
Yeah.
Like get her something really fucking beautiful. And he was going to get her this small ring, and I convinced him to get her this just like beautiful, it was like an antique diamondy ring. My mum is never someone, my mum's not a showy person. She's not very materialistic. She would never say she wants romance at all.
No.
She's someone that's just like, I'm not high maintenance. Like, I'm not high maintenance. I'm not high maintenance. And I don't think my dad has ever really done a lot of romantic things for my mum.
He's probably the most solid man I know.
He's service. My dad, totally. My dad's service, but probably hasn't done a lot of significant
A lot of
things.
safety, but I would say, significance wasn't a priority, and especially I don't know what it's like with 3 kids, but he didn't prioritize significance.
Totally. So we've really convinced him, and my sisters were then in on it, to get my mum this really beautiful ring. And usually my dad would get my mum like clothes or just like activewear,
or like
country road, just like such standard things every single fucking year. My mum, it makes me want to cry. Like when my mum opened that gift, oh my God, it was like her inner teenager came out.
It was so fucking funny.
And we could just see like you said before, and I think sometimes I don't like to make those super generalized. Every woman wants that, but seeing my mum in that moment, and before that moment, I would never have heard her say, she's like, I don't need anything. I don't need anything. I don't need anything. But to see my dad do something significant for her, the joy, the awe, the excitement, it melts a woman.
Yep.
It cracks a woman the fuck open when she feels significant. And that was just like the most beautiful moment. And I'd totally forgotten it until right now.
The Stephen Street Healing Sanctuary, Theo Sullivan's.
That was fuck.
The Stephen Street Healing
So
Sanctuary.
much healing happened in that house. Thank God we were poor for that period of time. So
I'm going to go with an absolute here. I believe that every woman, and I'm going to do this.
You make me nervous with your absolutes, but come for Jacob, guys, if you've got an issue.
leave comments below, as long as it's not about some of my body language. Don't offend me. I truly believe every single woman wants to feel significant, and I know that every single woman wants to feel like she's the only woman in the room. That to me is, I believe that is an important part of, especially if you're in a monogamous heterosexual relationship. I've got to make sure that I put it in the frame. But I truly believe that everyone wants to feel that. Like
I agree.
I totally believe that, and I think we do a disservice to relationships to try and play that part of a woman down, or we try to say that that's not as important.
And I think, this is a huge part of the work I do with women is we have been taught to disown that part of us. We have been taught that it's not safe to be quote unquote high maintenance, right?
Yep.
We've been scared. We've literally, the world conditions teenage girls and then women to play it cool.
Yeah.
I don't have many desires. I'll do whatever you want. Like I'm not like all the other girls. Like we're literally trained to be cool, which means pushing down our desires. And so I think a huge part of my work, especially in Full Spectrum Woman, is really teaching a woman how to own this part of her that really yearns to be swept off her fucking feet, yearns to be made to feel significant, yearns for these spontaneous moments of romance. And I think when a woman stops making that wrong in herself and owns that actually then opens the door to receiving that.
100%.
And then she can actually invite her man into doing that without this like resentment.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge part of our relationship too.
Yeah. And on the other side, like of men, like we would hold back in this modern sort of landscape. We'd hold back from doing grand gestures because, number one, we don't want to fall flat on our face. If we show a grand gesture and you're like, well, no, I don't, and because you don't want to, but you want to play it cool, you don't fully receive it, then we're going to be like, fuck, did I do something wrong? Fuck, did I come on too strong? Fuck. And then all of a sudden I'm in my head and I'm like, well, I'm not going to try that again. I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to do the things that are going to make sure that, you know, this relationship is secure. And I don't think that, I've noticed that in so many men is like, guys are indifferent. They're like, you know, I like having a partner and it makes sense. And, you know, I like doing things for her, but like there isn't this passion. And if she was to leave, I'd be sad, but I wouldn't really, there's not a lot there. And guys like, I love her, I'd do anything for her, but there isn't this aliveness or this depth of feeling created through these moments that crack open the container, that actually fracture it and make it even more alive.
And would you say if a man begins to practice this significance, not just service, but ups the ante on significance, that can actually support a woman to open?
Totally.
And in her own posture, in her own transmission in the relationship, there is more aliveness. There is more connection. There is more openness.
100%.
Just like my mom, like seeing like my mom literally melted when she got that ring, and it wasn't about the ring.
No.
It was about my dad getting her something different and getting her something significant.
Taking a risk.
Yes, that's it.
Significant it's risky.
That is so it.
It was fucking hilarious. Your mum, like, you'd catch her and she'd just be like looking at it.
She'd look at it all.
She'd be like looking at it. I can't believe you got this for me.
And for weeks she would just be like, Michael, I still cannot believe you did this for me.
One of the things that Joe said too is like, significant, just because you've done one significant thing doesn't mean that you're good for the rest of the relationship as well. So this is an important thing. Like, if you are going to weave this into your relationship, and I highly recommend you do, is that you work out a bit of a cycle where you are actively leaning into significant experiences for your partner. So just to give you some structure, and I was going to just tell stories and have processes in spite of you, but I'm actually going to add value. I'm going to actually add value to the listeners.
You add a lot of value.
Am I being a bit sassy on this one?
You are. What's up?
I've got a sore shoulder.
Do you actually?
Yeah. Didn't want to say anything. But I just did. It's not about me. I was giving the structure. Okay. So if you're a man, like and you'll think, fuck, when do I do significance? How do I know when the right time is? When is it? How is it? What do I do?
Any day of the fucking week.
Every single day of the year. Significance 365. The 75 significant. That's what you do. 75 hards out, and we're doing 75 significant. But if you look across the year, you've got Valentine's Day. You've got your anniversary. You've got your partner's birthday. So you've got a few already in the calendar. And then it's great to have one or two cheeky ones that you can just pull out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So you've already got a structure that's there for you to practice this on like a larger scale. And this is something that I realized was like, I want to make you feel significant. So let me start to explore what I can do and start to gather intel and data about what would actually be significant for you and for me to deliver. And what's one thing that you absolutely love?
Cards?
Yes, cards.
I love cards. Guys, if you ever get me a present, please write a card.
If you ever get me a present will do. Thank you.
I love cards.
You adore cards.
I love cards because of what it means. Like, that person's had to go out, buy the card, sit down, grab a pen, think about what I mean to them, and express that. I'm a words of affirmation gal.
You are a love language gal.
I'm a words of affirmation gal. I'm all of them.
You're all of them. Yeah. And that's one of the 5 that you are.
So that's really significant to me. Anytime like you've written something for me or that's really significant for me.
It's also the time it takes to formulate how I'm feeling, and what you actually mean. Like it's not just like, dear Meg, happy birthday. I love you so much, Jacob. It's like, I want to actually take my time to work out what is this card going to mean? Like what can this card actually carry? And that's a significant moment. I've like you said, I've got to sit down, and over the years I've gotten better and better at that. I would say, yeah. I sometimes have forgotten cards on 1 or 2 occasions.
I don't think you do a lot now.
No. But I know that I do remember when I've forgotten them, how it was
how
definitely
devastated I was.
Yeah.
Were you going to go somewhere next?
No.
I don't even know if this leads on from the conversation well, but I was just thinking about flowers and how if you're a man listening to this, just go out and buy your woman flowers on a random day. Take them home and say, these are for you. And when she says, why, just say, I thought of you.
Yeah.
And just watch.
Boom. I thought
just
of you.
Just watch what happens. Watch what happens to her body. Watch what happens. And once as a man, you experience what it is like to make your woman feel significant, especially out of the blue, especially when there hasn't been an expectation, you will want to continue to love on her like that. You will want to continue to love on her like that. I really love, sorry, I just want to talk about this reel I saw the other day, and it was this guy like going up to couples in the street or in random places, and he'll just put a red rose in the man's hand and walk away. And then the man will just like obviously just give it to his partner. And all the women's faces are like, oh, like they're just like so surprised and so excited and so happy. And I just loved it so much because I just think of like how simple it is to bring a woman into herself and bring a woman into her body and bring a woman into a place of just like joy and awe and appreciation.
I remember my sister, who she's a budding florist, she put up a post. She's like, I don't want you to buy me flowers. I want you to want to buy me flowers.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's never about the thing. It's about the intention behind it. And like you said, those flowers, handing them like you don't message, I'm on my way home just to let you know I've got you flowers. you don't it's not something, I got the milk and bread, but, and I got you a bunch of flowers. Look out, I'm bringing them home to you. It's in the spontaneous, it's in the surprise. It's in the, I couldn't walk past this because I just saw them and they just I just thought of you and I had to bring them home. And the thing is don't just start to do that every Friday and say that, say the same one-liner. You can't just keep on trying to do the same thing in the same way and create a secret formula. No, it is about the pulse, the impulse and the passion. So it's not about just like creating this routine, because then it becomes dry, it becomes formulated, it becomes expected, it becomes a routine, it loses its significance, right? So yeah, when the urge to buy like I would say at least once every 2 months buy flowers, if not once every month. And it's not about bringing them home on a specific day, but it's about, I saw sunflowers and I thought of you. Boom, I'm bringing,
and I thought of you. And this is the piece. Again, it's not just about the flowers. It's we as women want to know that you're thinking about us when you're not in our presence.
Yeah.
And, this is something we've had many conversations around, that there's moments where there's been moments earlier on in our relationship where I've questioned if you've been thinking about me and you've been thinking about our relationship, and you have expressed in those moments, of course, like, oh my gosh, if you knew, I've got a 10-year vision for us, I've got a 20-year vision for us, but you weren't really bringing that to the space. And I think this can be a really common thing for men, that as women, we're a lot more verbally expressive. And so this act of significance or this act of buying flowers or whatever it is when you offer that to a woman, really what that's indicating is like, hey, I was thinking of you. Even when I'm not with you, you're important to me. I think of you as I'm going to work. I think of you as I'm moving through my day. And I think of you as this beautiful thing I want to shower and adorn with gifts.
It really like a deeper kind of statement too that I'm hearing is like, I'm choosing you more than anyone else. And it's like, the thing about this is that doing this for your partner, you don't just do this for anyone else either. That's the beauty of it, and that's part of being in a monogamous relationship. Is like, hey, you're the one that I'm choosing, and I'm going to reflect that with some significant moments, some gestures that reflect that, hey, I'm choosing you more than anyone else. No one else gets this kind of treatment because you are mine. You're my woman, and I want you to know that. And I think that's a really beautiful gift.
Two things. What would you say to a man that maybe knows his partner wants more romance, or is listening to this and kind of rolling his eyes at like, what? Like, whoa, God, why is there more being asked of me? What would you say to that man?
Time to grow up, bro. Time to fucking grow up.
Full stop.
Stop being a bitch. No, I think it's real, bro. That frustration is real. And what I would say to that is like, there's a part of you that wants to be acknowledged for what you're already doing. I get that. Most of the time it's like, I know that you're already doing a lot. If you are an acts of service guy, or if you have been working really hard to provide, like I totally get that. And I also want you to know that this is the thing that's going to like deepen and have you more nourished. Ooh. This is the thing that will take you, in giving this, you will, by default, nothing goes one way in the name of love. So if you choose to step it up and do something significant, it is going to create an experience where you get to almost have that come back to you. Not by expectation, but by like the thing that you're seeking comes through giving in a way that you've never given before.
Amen.
And I want you to know, like, it's not like, oh, if I buy her flowers, she's going to suck my dick. Or if I buy her flowers, she's going to do this. It's not about creating this tit for tat. It's like, if I choose love beyond what makes sense, then I am opening myself to receiving something beyond what I could ever imagine. So it's a really subtle difference. I want you to know this isn't mind driven, this kind of love. It's an embodied gesture. So it's like I'm putting a part of me on the line for you to show you how much I care.
And the woman that's nourished in this way and feels significant in this way is a completely different woman to love. When this part of a woman is being fed, she loves differently. She's lighter. She's more giddy. The giddiness. She's gonna. Oh my God! If you ever loved a giddy woman, it is a joy to be in it's a fucking joy to be a giddy woman. But it's almost like this fizzy effervescence of a woman that you unlock when you offer her something like this. And especially, a lot of women are walking around, I was going to say walking around hard. It kind of is like that, right? Yeah. There's like, we have these hardened shells that the world teach us to operate from. And, a lot of the time men crave a nourishing woman, a woman that is going to feel nourishing to their nervous system. And we as women want to be that for our men, but sometimes we don't know how to get to that place. And as a man, you're part of the ecosystem that supports us as women to nourish you. Your behavior affects our nervous system, which then affects the way we show up and love and nourish you. And so this is one of the ways in which you can evoke our nourishment. You can evoke our giddiness. You can evoke our open-heartedness.
Totally.
My other question was, for the woman that's like, fuck yeah to all of this, I want acts of significance, gimme. I want to be treated in this way. I want to experience this. How do I invite my man to offer me this? What would you say?
I don't normally suggest like a compliment sandwich, but I think that's kind of the approach of like actually acknowledging all that he already does. I think coming in and just like, actually let me fucking let this man know hey, thank you for this, thank you for that. Like actually go ahead and make a list and let him know how much you appreciate that. And not in the same breath then just flip it into like, okay, now I want this. Create some time and trust the timing will be right. But my suggestion would be like, just like firstly acknowledge him and honor him. And then when the time is right, like bring through this invitation of like, I would love to really deepen our relationship. And part of that would be like, I want to feel like the only girl in the world. I want to feel like there's no one else in the room. I want to feel really fucking special. And I know life's been full, and acknowledging like the fullness of the modern world, but I still really feel like I want to be adorned. I want to be taken out. I want to be celebrated. And celebration's not right, but it's not put on show. It's like I want to feel your love in a way that I've never felt it before.
I love that.
Yeah.
My client and I this week were talking about like, that almost inner teenager in us that wants our partner to stand outside our room with a boombox and like declare his love.
Every breath you take.
But I think this can be a really playful way to bring it. Be like, hey, there's this part of me that wants you to do something so cringy and so like
it is
so cringily romantic. And you can even, because I know a lot of women would almost feel embarrassed to have that desire, and you can bring that, you can roll all of that up in one and bring that to your partner. We always say this here, like vulnerability creates deeper intimacy. And when you have a desire, please bring it with your vulnerability, because that opens your partner in a way that nothing else can. So, saying like, there's this part of me and I almost feel embarrassed to say it, but I like really want you to do something so cringy and so romantic. Like think rom-com, like 90s, early 2000s rom-com. And then it could be like, could you do something like that for me in the next month?
Yeah. And the invitation, it has to come in a really gentle, softening. It has to come from the part of you that you want to activate.
Yeah.
So if you come in hardened and you're like, we never go out.
You never look at this person on Instagram, look at the way he proposed. You never do anything.
We never do any of this anymore. We used to this, but we don't do it anymore. It's like if you come hardened, it's going to feel as though he's not enough. And he's not going to feel as though he's not going to feel inspiration to bring that into the relationship. But if you come soft and gooey, and there's a part of you that like probably doesn't want to admit that you want the cringy rom-com kind of love. It's like, no, I'm a new age woman that can look after herself and I'm fiercely independent and yada, yada, yada. Cool. But the truth is like you do want to access this part of you that you have been denying. And I think every woman wants that. And it's almost like the ability to just be like, listen, this is cringy, but I want to feel like a princess for a day.
And I think that is a vulnerability that many women aren't willing to bring to their relationship, but that's actually what they want to feel.
Correct. And so I just want to say this, like you're choosing to do this consciously. This isn't you like playing.
Being the damsel in distress.
This isn't you playing into some bullshit codependency. This is conscious. This is why, in David Data's work where his third stage relating is called intimate communion and codependency is first stage relating, they can look exactly the fucking same, but where they're coming from is different, which is what we're talking about with Meg said saying the feeling. It's the fucking feeling.
Yeah. And when you realize I want to feel, I want to play in that, like, oh my gosh, I'm being like, swept off my feet. I feel like a Disney princess. It's not thinking that that's all a woman is. No fucking way. But as a woman, there's a part of you that wants to know what it's like to be that. It wants to know what it's like to have that sensation, that experience. And this is what I truly mean by being a full spectrum woman. It's a woman that allows herself to have this full spectrum experience without making it mean anything about her womanhood, without making it mean something wrong about her because she wants that thing. Yeah.
100%.
I want to kind of shift gears a little in a moment, but anything else you want to share around romancing a woman, making a woman feel significant?
I think like the thread of like chivalry, like I think it's as a man, you get to own that as well. You get to own the chivalrous I will do significant things for you, and I don't care if you try to play it down or if there is like this idea of like, you don't need it. I don't care. I'm going to give it to you anyway. I think there's something so attractive about a man that says, oh, I don't care. I'm buying the flowers anyway. It's like, oh, the flowers are, my granny's quite funny like this. She loves things, but she doesn't see the value in them because of the money. But when she gets it, she'll run around like a headless chook with it. She'll love it. And it's like, even if your partner is saying they don't need it and you're aware of it, like if you're the man becoming aware of this first and your partner isn't aware and inviting you into it, you bring the flowers home, and if she's like, oh, you don't need to do that, I'm like, I don't care if I don't need to. I'm going to do it anyway because I love you and I thought of you, and these are beautiful flowers and they're yours now. And there's a way for you to like stand in that. And it's like, if you open the door for a woman and, who gives a fuck? Open it. Like, just do it. I think there's like I'm going to put a post out about this. Like, if I want to hold the fucking door for you, I will. If I want to come and help you lift something heavy, I fucking will. If I want to be a man, I'll fucking be a man. Take it up with someone else. I'm not going to apologize for wanting to do these acts. And that's the same thing when we amplify. It's like, I want to take you away. And you're like, oh, should we go? Too bad, we're going.
I love when you hold strong with me in those things. It's really like, especially when you're talking about the flowers, like for many women aren't comfortable receiving. So even though there's a depth of a woman that so deeply wants that, if a man's bringing her home flowers and this is a new experience for her, she's not necessarily going to feel familiar or comfortable in that experience immediately. There's going to be a pushback. There's going to be a part of her that goes, this feels scary. What the fuck? Like, why did he do this? And like, why did you spend that money? I don't need that. And it is so fucking sexy for a man not to take that personally and to hold that. And like you said, it's like, I know I didn't need to buy the flowers. I wanted to buy the flowers. I bought the flowers.
Yes.
And that's just so sexy. That is what that holding and that unwaveringness, when a woman is unable to fully receive in that moment, that is what supports a woman's nervous system to be able to receive and find the posture of receiving.
Oh.
Even today, I wasn't feeling very well and you put on toast for me. And then the toast popped and it needed to be put down again. And I was like, oh, it's okay, I'll do it. And I walked over to the toaster to do it. And you like jumped over the counter and popped it.
Like, if I'm going to do it,
you looked at me and goes, I will do it.
You said it's time to shift gears.
Well, I wanted to talk about men. And maybe I wanted to talk about romancing a man.
Oh, really?
And well, maybe not romancing a man, but like, I want to also talk about making a man feel valued and special. And because I adore like birthdays, when you have things that are really important to you in your life, when there's a big moment in your life, I love honoring that and I love celebrating you in that. And I just think I don't want to just leave this episode being like, men, it's your duty to make a woman feel significant. I also want to have the conversation around it's our duty as a woman who's devoted to loving a man really well to consistently make him feel valued and reflect his value to him.
Before we go there, is there examples that we want to give of like significance? Like, I just think that's important because, and what I would say is that every woman is the same but different. Like every woman.
What do you mean by that?
Like there are common threads. Like we talked about the flowers. There's things that reflect back her beauty, and there's a way like she wants to feel like I would say things that amplify pleasure and passion. Men probably aren't as.
Yeah, totally.
So this is what I'm saying, the same but different. And it's like, but then the difference is that you're with a unique woman. She is one of a kind. So what you must do is you must become really, really aware of her words, of her body language, of things that she's showing you. And you start to gather intel and then you can create an experience. So for you, I know you like nice hotels, not motels. And it's like, oh, for your birthday, we go away to a nice hotel. We go out to a nice dinner. We do an activity that you don't expect. Sometimes that goes well, sometimes that doesn't go well. But it normally results in like hearts cracked open.
Yeah.
or I learn about like, okay, what brand of jewelry do you like? And like every woman has her unique desires. And when you become more and more aware of those, you can start to orchestrate these significant experiences for them. But for me, like there's nothing like you're free on the 30th. Yep. Cool. All right.
I love that so much.
I've just sent you a calendar invite for 2 days, but you blocked out. We're going away.
There is like no, and I was not like this at the beginning.
Not at all.
But this is one of my favorite feelings, especially as a woman that I run my own business. I have a lot of responsibility in business. I make a lot of decisions every day. You know, I lead a team. You know, I have to play that decision maker a lot in my life. And so when you offer me the container in which I do not have to make decisions for days by going, hey, you know, take those 2 days off. We're doing we're going away. And I'll often say, I know you're never going to tell me, but I just like to play and go, oh, where are we going? Yeah. You're like, you don't need to know that. And you don't need to know that till we're there.
And if you understand someone's love language, it's the love languages are a good thing to know. Like for Meg, one of her greatest, she loves all of them, as we've established. It's a little bit of a joke, but it's not. But the one that you really, really love is quality time. Quality time, number one. What I'm saying
words
is
of affirmation, number two.
What I'm saying, physical touch, number three.
Acts of service, gifts.
Yeah. So for me to buy you really expensive jewelry would not have the same effect as saying we're going away for 2 days, because you know that if we're going away for 2 days, you've got me all to yourself.
And for me, there's part of me that's like, I could buy myself jewelry. I can't give myself that level of surrender that you facilitate by taking control of my life for 2 days.
Totally.
And making all the decisions for me.
Yeah.
And I know some women listening would be like, I remember you said this on a training we were doing about relationships, and you were like, imagine your man saying, okay, pack your bags, or like I'm packing your bags.
No, I was like walking them into it. I was like, okay, he has organized where you guys are going. They're like, yep, cool, yeah. So he's organizing where we stay or where we're going. Like, so he's organized the destination and the accommodation. They're like, okay.
I don't know if he could get it right, but
has he got is breakfast included? No. And then I was like, okay, and what is going to happen is he's going to pick you up from work and he's going to pack your bag for you. He's just going to arrive at the front of work and he's already packed your bag. All you have to do is hop in the passenger seat. They're like, no, we'll pack our bag, but definitely he can book the accommodation. And it's
so many people are like, no. And I think the packing of the bag, that's such a personal thing.
That's what, yeah. It's like, oh, like, see, like you are open to having an act of service done for you. It's just like,
yes,
cool. Like, it's like, oh no, yeah, he can definitely book the accommodation, but I would definitely want to pack my bag. It's like, cool. Like a big part of significant moments for a woman is letting go of control.
Huge.
And it's, huge. You know, it's taken you a few years to get used to not being in control. I remember when you used to book
accommodation and we would arrive and I would criticize it.
You would be so rude.
I would be so rude.
Yeah.
And it was like this subconscious thing that it wasn't as if we pulled up and I was like, I'm gonna criticize him. No. It was like the part of me that wanted that role back. The part of me that didn't feel safe in you playing that role for me.
And if I was bad at it, it meant that it made more sense for you to do it.
For me to take it back.
Yeah.
And so there would be the part of me that was like looking, like hypercritical, looking for, is the aircon working? Look at the sheets, or like, look, it's on in this position, or I would have booked something closer to the water. Like there was this hypercritical part of me that was trying to find where you fucked up, so I could rationalize going, it's not safe to fully like let him take the lead. Yeah. I'll book all the accommodation from now on.
And I think it's important as a woman, if you do want more of this, you've got to let the man explore what it's like to do different types of significant things.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when we went down and stayed down at Pottsville in that horrible small motel, and what happened? It was one of the funnest. I
loved it. I don't think I was as critical. No, it was awful, guys.
It was the worst. The bed was uncomfortable. It was hot. It was fucking.
It was this like bogan caravan park.
It was actually, it used to be a brothel, apparently. It used to be where they would,
But we had such a beautiful time.
But this is the thing, like I looked after, I organised a great weekend away and we didn't let the form ruin the feeling.
Yes.
And this is the piece. Like if your man's willing to step the fuck up, do something that he's never done before and create an experience, an immersive experience where the whole point of it is for you to feel significant, for you to feel like you can relax and receive, then your job is to focus on the feeling.
I always say this about like honoring the riskiness it takes and the courage it takes for a man to do acts of significance or do something super romantic. There is always risk in that because romantic things by nature or acts of significance by nature are things that you're not expecting or things that it's the risk that when it lands is why it feels so good as a woman. And so I think we really need to acknowledge the riskiness that our partner is, or the risks our partner are willing to take to do something like that.
Yeah.
And you spoke about indifference in men before, and I think that's the biggest thing that holds men back from doing that. It's kind of like this fear of, or just like, why the fuck would I risk that? Why the fuck would I risk not getting it right? Or like, let's just stay where we are.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
And that's what I love about you. And God, we've told some stories here on the podcast, but you are so fucking willing to take a risk. And sometimes those risks do not land. They always end with me being cracked open in joy and love and tears. But sometimes the actual moment, like my birthday with the surprise ocean canoe trip, had me almost having a panic attack.
Yes. So you're not always going to get it right, but it's in the commitment and to the feeling. And that's from both sides, right?
Yeah.
If you get to the motel and you wanted a hotel and you look and you see that and you look at me like, I hope that, and your posture is, well, that aircon better work because, oh God, this room's small. Oh, these sheets look, if you're in that posture of like, this doesn't look right and I need to change it.
And he didn't get it right.
He didn't get it right.
That's the undertone of the hypercritical.
Yeah.
He didn't get it right. And there's part of me that has a kink for making sure he doesn't get it right.
Instead of sinking into
the woman that doesn't want to let go of control.
And that's like sinking into, can you sink into like, oh, my man's taking me away. And like I said, like a man, it needs to be risky. It needs to be a sacrifice, but you don't want to be in a position where you're constantly living outside your means just to do something extravagant. Like this is significant. It doesn't need to be extravaganza.
Yeah.
So if that's if it is a weekend at the Carlisle for your partner and it costs you $1,500 for the accommodation, if that's like in your significant budget, awesome. But if it's not, that doesn't mean that you can't still do significant things for your partner.
I remember even when we didn't really have a lot of money, one day you took me down to Currumbin rock pools and you'd packed a picnic and our messes and like you set out a picnic there and like this stuff, significance does not have to cost money. Time potentially.
Yeah.
Right? But it does not have to cost money at all. Like this is where you can get so creative.
Definitely. And just to finish up before we switch over is like women are all the same but different. So women want I'm saying that because I think it's important to know that all women want to feel significant, but you're with someone who is uniquely them, uniquely themselves. And your job as the man is to bring your awareness into, let me understand this woman on a deep enough level so the risk that I'm taking doesn't feel as risky. So it's like,
love that.
So it's like, cool. Oh, Meg loves Byron Bay. Okay, cool. So if I book something in Byron Bay, I'm going to have a pretty good success rate in that will feel good, But if I book somewhere at Ballina, probably not. So it's like if you're gathering intel, gathering data, and you're finding these things out about your partner and understanding her on a deeper level just by being more aware, not by saying, if I was going to do something significant, would Byron Bay for 2 nights be good at this place?
That is the thing. Okay, we need to speak about that because you asking questions about the act of significance you can do ruins the act of significance.
It kind of deflates the whole
So
thing.
it's like the Louis Vuitton story you told. If that man was constantly going like, hey, do you like Louis Vuitton? Like, do you like, or is it like Gucci you like, or I don't know, if there was like this, you know, this almost, for me, that doesn't show a trust in a man. There's less of a risk then. So this is really about backing yourself as well.
And that the classic thing that I work with a lot of guys that have the people pleaser archetype quite strong. They're like, I just need her to tell me what she wants so I can give it to her. Bow, bow. You've just lost the essence of what makes the thing, which is to risk it, which is to like learn these things about your woman and then deepen into giving it to her without fear.
And I think that I just want to bring in a piece here that I think an edge for many women is to speak more of their desires into the relationship. But I think we're specifically speaking about acts of significance here, which,
like if you don't just go to the shops and just be like, oh, I'll just get her whatever. It's like, oh, she actually likes this. You know, I know which brand of moisturizer you like because you've told me. I know which toothpaste you like because you told me. It's not about, I'm going to get her the licorice flavored toothpaste. She will be so surprised. It's like, no.
That will feel significant. I feel like just one more piece here is that I love any gifts or significant things that you've done for me. I love having the feeling of like, oh, he listened.
Yes.
Oh, he listened.
I didn't know that he listened then. Like, I didn't know that he didn't even say anything. Oh.
So that's actually one of my favorite things to give as well. I love like hearing and kind of tracking what you're into and then wanting to give you something that you would be like, oh my God, you listened. And that feels so like, you know me. I really love offering you that feeling of like, oh, you know me.
Definitely. Even, on our anniversary when I bought you I went and bought you the jewelry. And I think I was like, I would never, like, I've never been one to buy you a lot of jewelry. You've never worn a lot of jewelry until probably the last couple of years. But then I was like, I want to buy you something like this is significant. Like it feels like I want you to feel like, I want you to feel a sense of surprise. And we had a great weekend away, but I bought you that snake necklace and then I bought you what do you call that thing?
Cuff.
Like a cuff. And I remember you being like a little bit like, oh, I didn't know you were getting me this. Oh, this is a surprise. And I was like, yeah, I want to adorn you in gold. I want you to know that this is like, you're my woman. Like it's been a year since, I've said yes to fucking forever with you. Like, let's remember this every year. Let's not hide from the significance that is our love and that is you.
And what did I get you?
A t-shirt.
What kind of t-shirt?
Oh, you got me a t-shirt with you all over it. Wifey. I should have worn it for the podcast.
You should have. You'll have to wear it for the podcast. I'll have to wear it for the podcast, I got Jacob a t-shirt that said wifey with like all of these photos of me over it.
I actually fucking loved that. It was a fucking, because I'd seen that so many times on Instagram at the ads.
I was so nervous to give you that because I was like, you're very particular about things. And this is why I knew it was going to potentially be the greatest present ever because I felt so nervous giving it to you.
I loved that. Yeah.
I was like, he's either going to hate this and think this is the cringiest thing or he's going to love it and potentially still think it's the cringiest thing.
But it was cringy, but it was an act of love. I was like, I don't know if he's going to like this, but I'm fucking doing it anyway. You could have easily gone and got me a t-shirt from a Vans t-shirt or a Carhartt t-shirt and I would have loved it. I would have loved that. But this just has it's just infused with something a little more.
Do you want to speak about loving on our men right now? Are we feeling complete?
I'm feeling complete, to be honest. I think this is like more of an episode around like the acts of significance. I think for men it can be slightly different in regards to receiving, and for me, like significant things can be. I feel it's a different approach for men.
Yeah, I think just the one thing I want to add to this is that, I know many women hold that desire for more romance or to be swept off their feet. And for the woman desiring that, first, express that into the space. We spoke about that earlier in this episode. Secondly, where are you? How do I want to word this?
Good luck.
No, are you being a nourishing space for your man? Can you deepen into nourishing your man? And not, again, like we said earlier, not from this space of like, if I nourish him, he will then sweep me off my feet. But just knowing this, like, just like it's not anytime in a relationship where we're just focused on getting something from our partnership, we're not actually partaking in union. Like union is the giving and receiving. So yes, focus on, I would love more of this, but also then take the posture of what more can I offer my partner? How can I nourish his nervous system more? How can I make sure he's feeling really valued? And I think that's something that I'm really specific with. I think this is something I nail in our relationship, that any big moment you have in your work or in your life, I celebrate that. I buy you something, or I write you a big card, or I get you something like a pen, or like something to just like anchor that moment for you. So it might be your retreat, like you had the big retreat you did recently with, down in Sydney, and I knew that was big for you. So I wrote you a card, and I think just like that, for me, what's really important in those moments is I want you to know how much I see what you're doing in the world, and how much I respect and value the work you're doing and all your being in the world. So I think for me, that's the equivalent of it might not be as showy for a man. A man might not want to probably doesn't want to feel swept off his feet, but he wants to feel valued and seen for all the hard work or the value or the value he's putting in.
I would say that he doesn't want to feel special. He doesn't want to feel like the only man in the room. He just wants to feel appreciated. Appreciated, yeah. And a man feels appreciated when he receives an acknowledgement of the value that he's giving to the world, whether that's in his work, whether that's in his relationship, whether that's doing some kind of personal challenge that or achieving a personal goal as well. And these are all things that, for me, like I would say a woman wants to feel surprised, swept off her feet, completely enamored in, lost in the beauty of I am the center of this universe. Where for a man, it's like he wants to feel appreciated for being in service to the universe.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And that for me, like I feel most nourished when you acknowledge me for the man that I am, not only right now, but the man that I'm constantly leaning into becoming. And that's not to say that I don't like getting presents on my birthday, and I'm learning to let love in without having done something already. But for me, my value is how I determine, my sense of self outside of knowing that I'm worthy. But my value that I give to the world is what I want to be known for, what I want to be appreciated for. And I love being Jacob on his own, but for me, that's what feeds me, and then allows me to feel more alive in giving more to not only you, but to whatever it is that I'm engaging with.
Yeah. Yeah. So just kiss the mic.
Yeah.
So let's not forget to nourish our men. So that can be with, I was trying to think of some examples. Like I love writing you cards. That pen, I bought you quite a few pens over the years. I got a pen engraved for you recently when you had made a big business move. I just want to bring that in because I think really, honoring and nourishing our men also in a way that makes them feel significant, but valued and appreciated.
Totally. Like booking, you've booked me in for massages before when you know that I'm exhausted and I'm not willing to like do that for myself. It's like you're aware of what I need. You're aware of what would make me feel nourished. And I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful gift. If a woman can attune to that and be like, I want to do this for you. And you've done that many times in many different ways, but it's subtle yet profound most of the time. It's not a big showy thing. It's like subtle yet profound.
Yeah. Okay, lovers.
Sorry.
You go.
I was going to say, so guys, Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too.
Oh, were you? Yeah. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. Like do something crazy. Do something a little bit risky.
Yeah, do something weird and wild nuts and risky and tell us about it. Message us and tell us about it. And if you're looking for some inspo for Valentine's Day, we've got a whole lot of links below we've got a whole lot of resources and courses that you can dive into that are perfect Valentine's Day gifts. I would highly recommend the Desire Date if you haven't done the Desire Date yet.
Please do the Desire Date.
It's only $27. This could actually be something perfect to actually do on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
If you want to do something significant together and really intimate and powerful together, that's also super fucking affordable. If you don't want to go out and spend hundreds of dollars at dinner, this is $27 and you can do it in the comfort of your own home.
Exactly.
Really sexy, beautiful, deep, intimate date night experience. So the link is below in the show notes or in our link in bio.
Yep.
We also have Ignite Your Intimacy, our 4-week couples course. So that's a self-paced course that you can go and buy. It's $444. There's also a payment plan available. So you could surprise your partner, especially, if you're a man and you know your partner loves this podcast and you haven't done that course together, but you know that she really values this work, go and fucking surprise her with that course.
Let me ask.
Or if you're, so I just want to say one more thing. Or if you're on the Gold Coast or can get to the Gold Coast on the 2nd or the 3rd of March, surprise your partner with a motherfucking ticket to either the live podcast event or our intimacy immersion on the Sunday.
Do it.
Or both. The intimacy immersion is a full day couples experience. It's going to be next fucking level. So this is like the perfect Valentine's Day gift. The perfect Valentine's Day gift. Link is below as well or in our bios.
And a great question to ask yourself, men, is what would this mean to her? What would this what would this mean? What would it mean for you to invest in, one of these courses and lean into, hey, I want to deepen our relationship. I want to deepen our intimacy. I want to do this with you. What would it feel like? What would it feel like for her to receive that and know that you're prioritizing the relationship? I know you've got work. I know you've got your mission. I know you've got your vision and your purpose and the gym and all the other, and your meditation and your eyesight. I know you've got all the other things that you're doing, and I fucking celebrate. Don't ever fucking stop doing you. But what would it feel like for her to know that you've allocated some resources, some of your money, you've allocated some of your time, and you're going to show up and be present with your energy for the Desire Date, for an evening with her, or for this short course, Ignite Your Intimacy, or if you're going to come and do the in-person thing.
Oh my
what
gosh.
would it mean?
Or surprise her. Book a weekend away to the Gold Coast. Don't tell her you're coming to the intimacy immersion. And then just when you're flying up or flying across or wherever you're from, go, we're going to the Gold Coast. We're spending a whole weekend devoted to our relationship.
Yes, flying in economy, in executive economy, all the extra leg room.
I'm so excited for that weekend.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be really, really fun. Really, really fun.
Yeah. But go boldly and never fear the spills. It's love is a risk, and that's what makes it fucking awesome. Love is risky. It's vulnerable, exposing, and without it, we'd just be sitting on the couch watching Netflix and doing the same shit every fucking day. So please go and give your love boldly to those that you care about, and just see how much more is available for you, for your partner, and for your relationship. Aho.
We love you. Happy Valentine's Day. See you next week.
Big love.